Okay, so we got round 8 of the Liga MX on Mexico Independence Day, September 16th, Saturday. So first game of the night, we got Necaxa up against Juarez. And I don't see I don't understand these numbers. I don't understand these money lines. I think they're giving Necaxa's home field advantage a little bit too much credit. I understand with the elevation. Juarez do not train at an elevation. I completely get that. But Necaxa has not been able to pull a win out of this whole tournament. They're the only team with zero wins. They're pulling draws, but that is not just it's just not doing much. So I'm gonna take Juarez, which is the better team with more money. I'm also gonna go ahead. I love to hit the over whenever I see the 2.5. It's just because 2-1 is such a common result when it comes to these Liga MX games. I've seen it so many times. So I'm gonna just about hit over 2.5 almost every single time. So I'm gonna take the over 2.5. I'm also gonna take the both teams to score. I don't think it should shock anybody for Juarez to come out of this winning 2-1, and then all your bets hit if Juarez can get that result, which I just don't see it being impossible or even difficult to hit. Juarez has just been playing really good football. Some of those goals that on their last game, guys, take a look at them. They were some bangers. And against this weak Necaxa team, I still think they can get it done fairly easily. But like I said, coming back from break, it makes all these teams rattled. Don't be surprised if we see some shocking things this weekend, but I'm still going to stand and stick with from what I've seen, what I know, and from what's right in front of me. So Juarez to win 2-1, and we can get a whole sweep here. Up next, we got Monterrey against León. Very, very interesting game if you guys ask me. I think this one's going to be a fun one. León is usually always in these fun games, man. León is just not a boring team to watch. And both of these teams have a bunch of players, whether it be from Mexico or from South America, wherever it may be. Both of these had players that played in their international games. So some of them, this game might be a little bit weird. The players might be a little bit shaky. Some players are not going to be well rested. They might put in some more of the bench players, but we'll see how it goes. And just due to those kind of reasons, I still think we're going to see both teams score. I think probably that Monterrey defense is going to be a little bit weaker than usual, being that I want to say at least half of their defense plays with the Mexico national team. So I think we're going to see a little bit of wear down there, of some wear down, energy-wise, muscle-wise, whatever you guys want to call it. I just think they're going to be torn down a little bit from the international games. And same thing with Leon, but all around. I'm not exactly sure what position some of their international players play, but I do know that they had some of them playing in with their respected countries. But I'm just gonna go with the draw here. I think this game is gonna be a draw. I think both teams come in very, very weak, very sleepy, very not on point. Like I said, some of these breaks that affect the regular Liga MX tournament, I think it just leaves a lot of things rattled. So I think both teams can score, and I do think it's going to be a draw, 1-1. I just think that's how this game is going to turn out, in a very exciting 1-1 game. To close out Saturday with a bang, they would put this on Mexican Independence Day. This is Mexico's rivalry, Mexico's biggest rivalry, the longest one up to date. So we got America versus Chivas, and this is going to be in Mexico City in the Azteca. And I do think America wins this. Chivas has not had a positive result in the Azteca besides that semifinal in the last season. But before that, they have not been able to pull a win in the Azteca for the longest. So I don't think them pulling in a win once in the semifinal can justify them winning the next games, including this one. So I do think America takes home the win, but for some reason, America just does not lock down their games. They don't dominate their games. They're still very, very sloppy. They played very sloppy against a Cruz Azul team who only had 10 guys. They had one, so America had a one-player advantage, and it looked like Cruz Azul was going to get the draw on that one. with even though America had the lead most of the game, I still think Chivas can score one. So both teams to score is definitely worth taking a shot here. I put the draw and the America money line up because that's just what I recommend to you guys. Because if you think Chivas can pull a draw, that's not a bad bet either. Chivas has been able to pull a draw in the Azteca quite a few times in the last few games they played each other. But ultimately, I think America is just going to take this. Chivas is just on a very, 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 very steep decline ever since that Leagues Cup tournament ended. They have just not played their best, man. They need to put those young guys back in. Forget all these stars, because those first three games that Chivas played, it was all with the young guys, with the bench, with the not players that you don't even know, but just they were hungry, and man, they got those wins for Chivas. A little bit of a side note, but for Mexico, if Mexico wants to have faith to win anything, they need to do what this Chivas team did in those first three games. They need to put those young players out there, man. We need guys that are hungry. We don't need guys that are money hungry. We need guys that are hungry, and that they care more about the game as opposed to the cash. But that's a story for another time. But yeah, America money line. I think the draw is a bet. Honestly, even Chivas is a good bet, just because I don't know which version of America is gonna show up. That, and this is kind of like a mystical mumbo jumbo reason if you guys want to listen. But Chivas is the only team that has all Mexican players. No Brazilians, no South Americans, no nothing. Pure 100% Mexican players. So it wouldn't shock me if they happen to win on Mexican Independence Day. So if you want to take a shot with Chivas simply for that reason, I don't blame you. I think I would do it too. But the one play I have locked in here is both teams to score. That's the only one I have locked in so far. Once it gets closer to game time, I might pick a money line. I'll let you guys know on Instagram. Follow me, LaloMX80.